is Caroline Kieran.
My mom, of course, started freaking out because at that point, because I haven't had water or food in I don't know how many hours, and so I started seizing and I passed out. So maybe the overzealous and rambunctiousness of me is just me missing some brain cells at that point because I had a seizure. I thought I was going to be judged, and I was. Some people judge me and some people didn't. So you just need to find your people.
I feel like that's what makes a human different, is when he's open to learn from different cultures and he's willing to question his own beliefs, because at the end of the day, that's going to make you a better human. And so what was the feeling after winning Miss Oklahoma?
It didn't hit me until the next day. Like, I was in complete shock when I won Mrs. Oklahoma.
Or what I would call win, even though I was the first runner-up. This one kid walked to me and he said, Nitin, that was an amazing story. He told me that he hasn't been talking to his father, but he said, after listening to your story, I'm gonna go home and call my dad.
You aspired to inspire.
I changed one life, and I bet that one life came to me and told me that he's gonna do that. I bet there were multiple people who came back and talked about it, and at some point they talked to their parents.
Yeah.
You said you were first runner-up and you were third runner-up. So did you consider that as a losing, or do you consider that as you won pageant as a teenager, you won pageant as a wife, you won pageant as a mother? What was different? If someone is watching you for the first time, what should they know about you, and how do you define yourselves?
Oh, that's a good question. When usually it's not a very nice thought when someone first meets me, because they probably think I'm really loud. But it's not being loud. I think I'm overcompensating for the childhood I had. I was bullied a lot, so when I first meet people, I'm very overzealous. I'm very over friendly, and my husband always tells me that the first person I meet, I probably get invited to their wedding and become one of their bridesmaids the second we have a conversation. So they might think I might be a little loud and obnoxious, but it's really out of goodness of heart. So it's just more friendliness, over friendliness, I guess.
But I think that's a good quality about you. I think that makes you different than everybody else.
I feel like when you're exuding that, I feel like it makes others, I mean, it can go both ways, but it's more welcoming. I feel like when I present myself that way, I mean, I'm not presenting myself, that's who I am. I feel like it opens up a whole different conversation for people and how they approach me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So take me back to your journey of coming to America.
Oh, I don't know if you've ever seen my TED Talk, but learning how to sparkle, that. And, like I said, I mentioned earlier, I was bullied too, but the journey here was a traumatic one for me. My parents fled Vietnam after the fall of Saigon in April of 1975. My parents got married in 1978. My parents got married in 1975. I'm sorry. We started our journey to America in 1978. So in 75, after the fall of Saigon, my grandfather encouraged my mom to get married because he was afraid the communist soldiers would come and offer dowry for her to marry them, and he didn't want that. And in that sense, in that environment at the time, pressure, that negative pressure to marry into a communist family was there. And so my grandfather encouraged her to find someone to marry. And yes, my parents knew each other from college, from school, and they knew each other, and they were going to get married, but they were kind of rushed into it just because of the fall and the war. And so in October 75, my parents married, and the following year they had me. So, and then my grandfather, same grandfather who encouraged my mother to marry quickly, also encouraged us to escape. So in 1978, my dad tried. He got caught.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it was a big OS, yes. He got caught. He was put in prison for a little while. And when you think prison, it's not like the glamorous prisons here. And prisons are not glamorous at all. But in Vietnam, you get a 5x5 walk.
Yeah, I'm imagining the war prison.
It is a war prison, and it's complete total darkness. It's underground mainly, and it's literally a 5x5 walk up. So he's 5'9", so he couldn't even stand up straight. So he laid down and was sitting most of the time. So eventually he came out and found out my mom was pregnant with me. and so we fled, and I guess going back, it was pretty traumatic. I was 2.5 years old when we fled Vietnam. We were known as the Vietnamese boat people, which, by the way, shameless plug later on a little tidbit of that. And when we were on that boat, we were at sea. It was a fishing boat that had a capacity. It's a fishing boat, so usually you have 3 people on that fishing boat, and then maybe when they pull in fish or shrimp or whatever it is they were fishing for, the weight of that. So the capacity of that boat probably held 150 people. There were over 300 people on that boat. I don't know how it didn't capsize, but the weight of it, it's like, you know how buoyant boats are, and they're supposed to sit to where the water sits at the bottom. Yeah. It was up to the top rim.
Like super close?
And so each time a wave came, the water would just come in, and then they would have to scoop out the water. And I'm too young to remember this, but this is the stories. These are the stories that my parents told me about.
So how old were you when?
2.5.
2.5?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and so we were out at sea for 2 days, maybe 3. Ran out of food, ran out of water. And so finally, by God's grace, I really do believe it was God's grace, the final day where everybody was struggling because we haven't had water for over 16 hours. Mm-hmm. And I remember my parents saying the Thailand Coast Guard, because it's, international waters at this point. Thailand Coast Guard scooped us up. And when we were unboarding the ship, I started having seizures, and my mom, of course, started freaking out because I haven't had water or food in I don't know how many hours, and so I started seizing, and I passed out. So maybe the overzealous and rambunctiousness of me is just me missing some brain cells at that point because I had a seizure. I was completely out. And so, they had to try to wake me up. They were slapping me. My mom was like, they were slapping you left and right. And I was crying. I couldn't do anything. And so they squeezed a lime into my mouth, and that's what woke me up, because the tartness of limes woke me up.
Yeah.
So, I almost died at sea.
So are you glad that you don't remember that, or?
I do believe the brain has a way of just blocking out traumatic events. I do. And I think that's why a lot of victims of violence, it isn't until later in their life that they experience pieces of the memory coming back. I do believe at 2.5, a lot of us, we don't even remember what happened, without trauma, what we were doing at 2.5. But I do believe that at 2.5, I don't have memory of it. And then trauma on top of that, it's completely blocked out of my memory. I do not. I only hear stories. So that's the continuous story my parents continue to tell everybody. She almost died. And look at her now, So I don't take that lightly. I do take the stories that my parents tell me, the struggles that they had to endure to get me here, to get our family here. That weighs a lot on my heart, because, they sacrificed a lot coming to a brand new country, and the way they escaped, oh my gosh,
That's crazy. Yeah,
it is crazy. To think your father, gambled on all of our lives, just to get us to a place where we know is safer from where we escaped from. So we are known as the Vietnamese people.
But I think he gambled on your future
100%.
because he could have gone to any other country. But do you know why he chose America? in
America,
particular?
because one, we did have family here.
Okay.
We had family here already, and they were willing to sponsor and help us get started. But the stories we hear, the opportunities, and my dad did help with the American War against Vietnam, and so he felt like he had kind of duty to come back and serve the country that kind of helped him, or rebuild in the country that tried to help him help his country. So yeah.
I think that's where your fighting spirit comes from.
Oh, 100%. I do believe I get that from my dad.
And
Survival, fighting and survival skills.
So, like, why did you guys pick Oklahoma in general? Like,
Family mainly.
family.
So when we got to California, mind you, when we escaped on a boat and then Thailand scooped us up, we were on a refugee camp in Songla, Thailand, which no longer exists now. My sister is actually named after that,
Oh,
that
really?
refugee camp. Her name is Songla. And she was named after that camp because, well, my mom got pregnant there. And so
Okay.
she was kind of conceived there. So, yeah, it comes to, the story kind of lines to where, I don't know, it just, one right after another, one event right after another. And so when we landed in Oklahoma, like I said, when we were in the refugee camp, there was no connection, no communication whatsoever. It wasn't until we got to California, we were helped by different agencies that were trying to, because from 1975 to 1980, there was a mass immigration of Vietnamese people to America.
yeah, I bet.
There was a huge, massive immigration of Vietnamese Americans. So when we got to California, there were agencies that helped us, and my father, assisted with the translator, said, we do have family in Oklahoma. So it was their job, and my father, bless him, he held on to that piece of paper with the phone numbers, and
Throughout the whole journey of
Yeah.
you coming to US,
with
that's
with the
crazy.
food and everything in his pockets, because that's all we had. We didn't have any type of luggage. We couldn't. The boat was small in size, and we were just packed in there like sardines. My dad said,
with so many people.
yeah,
already
with so
there.
many people. He said that we sat with our legs up to our chest and just kind of like that. And so I sat between my dad's legs in his lap, like my face on his chest, and then his legs up. And then when he would tire, then he'd pass me to my mom, and she'd sit like that, because literally you were packed in there like sardines with your knees up to your chest, sitting like that for 3 days.
I can't imagine.
Yeah,
It
so-
must have been super difficult. Yeah, I can't imagine.
When I started going to school, and that stigma, because back in the 80s there wasn't a whole lot of people that looked like me going to school, and so they're all curious, and I get that, and they're all like, oh, how did you get here? And at the time I didn't know my story. And then so I'd go home and I tell my parents, I said, hey, someone asked me, how did we get here? And they told me. It wasn't until they told me, I'm not gonna lie, I was embarrassed by it.
Why? What's there to embarrass about it?
You're trying to grow up in this type of community, the Western idealist, community. I thought I was going to be judged. And I was. Some people judge me and some people didn't. So you just need to find your people, is what I tell people, my students now. You just need to find your people. So I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed by my story. And I told, so I lied about it.
What was the lie?
The lie was, oh, we had family here and they brought us over. It's, which wasn't a lie, but it was a lie, because they didn't know the part where the struggle came in, the escaping and the struggle, and, having almost dying, that. So I said, we have family that brought us here.
I think you should have told your story so they know how adventurous you guys are. And
Yes, 100%. But remember, that was 12-year-old me. Yeah. And then now I share my story to whoever wants to hear it. every chance I get, I tell my story because it's a story I think I'm very proud of now. It's a story of strength. It's a story of survival, and it's a story of conviction and, absolute dreams that can come true.
Yeah,
So,
it's a story of inspiration, motivation.
I hope so. I hope someone's motivated or inspired by it. Otherwise, I'm telling it to the wrong crowd.
So, what is the story of becoming a scientist? Like, how
Oh,
did you
gosh.
end up at UCO? And
Oh man, being a scientist was not in my bingo card when I was going to school. I actually, after graduating high school, I started on a pre-med path. It wasn't until I took cadaver anatomy at Oklahoma State University, Oklahoma City, that I said, maybe this isn't for me. So to the professor and to the students that were next to me mutilating those bodies, thank you. The smell, so each student, it was really small. It was a class of, there was 4 cadavers, 4 students to each cadaver. So it was like 16. Cadaver anatomy, there were 16 students per class. And so it was one of those classes where you make sure you enroll in or you're going to miss it, And so I took that class, and we had God bless those people that donate their bodies to science, just to let you know what the students do to your bodies. You might not want to donate them anymore. But I was with a group of 3 others, and we had a gentleman who donated his body. He was, I can't remember the weight exactly, but he was over 300 pounds, had a triple bypass. So all that was still in there. I mean, they just drained him literally and left everything else and embalmed him. And so, that was tough. And so when I took that class, I said, maybe I'm not made for pre-med. Maybe I'm not. And then I was like, okay, so let's go down a different route, physical therapy. And then I was like, oh no, I can't do physical therapy. What if I get a child who has, cerebral palsy or something like that I get too emotionally involved. My personality. I get very emotionally involved in people's lives. And that's a good thing, bad thing. I don't know, however you want to take it. But yeah, and I said, okay, maybe that's not for me either. So I play these different scenarios, and I'm able to talk myself out of things all the time. Wish I could do that with shopping, but I can't.
Nobody can. We all have that problem.
So I kept going to school. I knew I wanted to do something in the medical field. So I kept going to school and graduated with a chemistry degree. I found out that I really like tinkering with little things, like research, questioning myself. I talk myself out of all of things. So, those questions, I'm very curious. So I got hired on after 9/11 at the State Health Department as a chemical bioterrorist technician or something like that. And I remember working there. I'm like, okay, I love the lab. I'm a lab rat. I was made for this. So that's where the love of being a scientist came from. And it just started with that. It's like I had this path I wanted to go on, and that's okay. You think you know what you're going to do with your life, and then life throws you a curveball, and they're like, no, I think you're better suited for this. And I was open to it. And that's what I did for almost 20 years, is work in the lab. And I went from doing chemical, making concoctions for each of the separate labs upstairs, chemicals and the acids and the bases they needed to do testing. Then I went from that lab to molecular biology lab, actually molecular virology, and then I went on to and then I went on to TB, tuberculosis. So I did a lot of testing everywhere.
So you said you like being in the lab, like you enjoyed it. Would you say it has anything to do with your experience as a student?
Yes, I did. I loved when I took the classes. Maybe the classes, I'm not gonna lie, were a little boring, but when I got into a lab like the micro lab or the chemistry lab, I enjoyed it thoroughly. Like physics lab too, I enjoyed it thoroughly. So I was more a hands-on, look behind the microscope, dig deeper into what's causing things type of girl. So yeah.
So from somebody who was a scientist who loved being in the lab, how did that person got into pageants? What changed in your life? What was the motivation?
It wasn't motivation. It was a tiger mom. Thanks, Mom. Who decided a 15-year-old awkward girl who still didn't know who she was, at that point, lying about her story, her journey here to the United States, not being accepted, kind of being bullied through school because I was so different. Ugly duckling, my mom, going through puberty. What were you thinking, Mom? She approached me and she said, hey, look, our organization, the Vietnamese Association of Oklahoma, does not have a representative for the Miss Asia Oklahoma pageant. ASO is still very, very active today. And she was like, we don't have a representative, so you're going to do it. I said, no, I'm not. I know zero things about pageantry, Mom. What am I supposed to do? And she's like, oh, you just walk around the stage and pose and look pretty, and then you have a talent. Your talent will win you. And I sing. So she's like, don't worry about it. And I said, I don't even have a dress, Mom. Like, I don't even own heels. I don't own any makeup. And at this point, I was like, it wasn't, every time my mom suggests I do something, I never win. Wow. She's just like, just do it. Just do it. And so like, do it or don't eat. No, I'm just kidding. No, my mom wasn't like that at all. But she did push me. So she's like, yeah, our organization doesn't have a representative, so you're going to do it. Just smile. And that's what I did. I got on stage. I walked around. I sang this traditional Vietnamese song, both in English and in Vietnamese. And my Vietnamese is terrible, by the way. I had to go back to school to learn my language.
Really?
It was really sad. It's a sad day.
I mean, you grew up in America, so it makes sense.
Truly did. I did. I mean, when I was 2.5, I spoke very little Vietnamese anyway. 2.5, 3 years old. Yeah, very, very little Vietnamese. And then...
So what was your thinking after the pageant? After your first pageant, did you like it or?
I was very, very mad at my mother after my first pageant. But I got first runner-up.
Nice.
So for the not owning shoes, not owning makeup, not owning dresses, and then they just kind of threw things on me. Like literally, my mom had these friends, 4 friends, and literally they just put blue eyeshadow on me. They just did their thing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what is going on here? Threw clothes on me, and I got on stage. The only thing I was looking forward to was the singing. Growing up being bullied, that was my outlet. I loved to sing, and I love to sing in church. I still love to sing in church. I sang the national anthem at a few Thunder games.
Really?
Yes, I got invited to sing that. I do.
That's awesome.
I love singing. I used to sing for a band too. Putting myself through college. I was a wedding singer.
Oh, really?
They would book us for weddings. So yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
So I do love to sing. So I was counting on that.
You're like, okay, that's the only motivation I
Yeah,
have.
the only time I'm really confident is when I'm singing. And so I sang, and it was a traditional Vietnamese song. I remember my uncle, I think, translated the words for me because there were no English words. And so someone translated it for me. I can't remember. It was my dad or my uncle, because both of them are very musical. So, and my dad sings, and I think that's where I get my love of singing from. And then my uncle, he's got perfect pitch. He knows how to listen to music and knows how to play it. Like he can find his way on the piano. And so after that, I got first runner-up. They handed me my winnings of $500, I think.
Oh, nice.
And I can't remember how much it was. It's so long ago. Remember, I was only 16 and a half, 17 at the time. So that's lots of years ago, many, many moons. And they handed me my winnings, and that's when I was like, cha-ching,
Yeah.
you know?
I like this.
It's like, what else can I do here? And so that happened. And then the second pageant, it was also, was it the second or third? I can't remember. Second pageant, it was also my mom's doing. She listens to these Vietnamese podcasts, and the only podcast at the time came from California.
Okay.
So they were introducing a international Miss Vietnam pageant out in California.
And so she took you to.
She
To
calls me and she
California?
goes, "Hey, there's a pageant, you know," and it was based in San Jose, I remember, and we had family in San Jose.
Okay.
So her thinking was like, you compete in this pageant, I can go visit my family. So
Win-win for both of us.
exactly. And so when she entered me in that pageant, I was like, Mom, I was at UCO at the time. This is during finals. It's like, yeah, it was, I remember it was like, or no, not finals, midterms, February, right? Midterms.
February. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, Mom, I cannot go. This is midterms. And I was taking organic chemistry at the time for all my org chem students. Oh,
never
God bless.
figured out.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a tough class. And I was like crying. I was like, I'm not going to be able to do this. And she's like, it's fine. Just take the test early. I was like, you don't understand. Organic chemistry is hard. And so I had to email not email, but I had to go because email didn't exist back then. Or maybe it did. I think it did, but it was
did.
very, yeah. And back in the 90s, it was very limited.
I think it was, yeah. It was
But I
very
went and spoke to all my professors. It was embarrassing. I was like, my mom told me I'm entering a pageant, so I'm not going to be here for the test. Like it was like that, but it was so funny. But I had the time of my life. It was out in San Jose, California, in the Bay Area, and I met incredible people who I'm still friends with now. Elizabeth,
That's amazing.
Quinn, Jasmine, and Nam. I'm going to come and visit you soon. 30 years. It'll be 30 years next year, so we're gonna have a 30-year anniversary reunion. Oh, everybody,
That's awesome.
everybody. Okay, that's in my plans now. But the International Miss Vietnam pageant, I fell in love with everybody out there. The organizers were so nice. They're so accommodating. I had no clue what I was doing because, again, first one was very, very awkward.
Mm-hmm.
This one was even more awkward because I was out of the state.
And
out
also,
of my,
you feel the pressure
Yes,
of being in California.
yes.
It's going to be a huge
And
event.
the girls in California, the Vietnamese girls in California are top tier. Let me tell you. I was, again, the tallest competitor. But the level, I don't know. I felt like a country bumpkin. I think that's what it was because coming from Oklahoma, I felt like a country bumpkin. All these girls from California were just very well dressed, very, very taken care of. Like nails, hair, everything like that. And I stroll in with my apparently, Southern Okie accent, which I didn't know I had until I started talking to them. And, but they all embraced me and it was a wonderful pageant, well put together. And it was completely different level. And we had tons of sponsors, or they had tons of sponsors. And we went to like dinner every night sponsored by someone else. It was amazing. It was an amazing pageant.
What was your ranking in that pageant?
I got first runner up again.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First runner up.
So by this time you had two competitions. You were first runner up in both of them.
Yeah.
Did you went back home and feel like, oh, I should have done this? And
You do.
That would have
Every
won the
pageant
competition.
competitor will go back and question, oh, I should have said this. I wish I would have said this. They will go back and they will question their actions and be like, why did I do this? Why didn't I smile? Why was I so awkward? Don't question yourself. And I always tell my contestants, because, being the international director for the pageant at UCO currently, I tell them, don't worry about what you say. Convince them that what you said is the done deal. Like you need,
Yes.
no matter what they believe, you need to convince them that what you said is Bible. And so that's the technique in pageantry. So don't question yourself, just go with it. But you have to convince yourself and them that what you said is 100% true. And I always tell my contestants too, a different day, a different judge, you're going to definitely have a different winner.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like every judge looks at the different aspect of you as a person.
Different attributes of you're multifaceted, every person's multifaceted, and they're going to look for specific things and that's why when I pick my panel of judges, I pick people from a widely different variety of backgrounds, because my pageant judge, my reigning queen judge, will pick things that she's learned and picked up during her time as a queen. The president of the association of whatever, he's going to pick up, okay, well, I'm going to look for someone who's very active, or who knows how to talk to people, because being an ambassador for a school, you have to know how to talk to people, because he's a community leader. So he wants to look for that attribute. And then I have someone who is very successful in business there. They're going to look for someone who's hardworking. So my 5 judges are completely different, from different scopes, from different backgrounds, different walks of life. And so I try to make it fair in that way, because we do at UCO, they want a very well-rounded ambassador for the International Student Council. And so I respect that, and I hope, and I continue to do that work for them, so that they have someone they can count on.
And so, I never knew that in our judges panel, when I competed, there was somebody who was looking for my business skills or my communication skills.
Yeah.
Because I went in completely, I went complete raw.
Mm-hmm.
I prepared, I don't know if you remember this, a night before, I was still working on my presentation.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't have pointers, I'm just going to look at the picture and whatever. I did prepare a little bit. So I had a set of pointers that I was going to talk about. But that's it. And I was like, okay, whatever I feel like on the stage, I'm going to say it, because it's about my family. There's nothing that can go wrong. It's my story. I'm not preparing the story.
100% you speak from your heart will give you the rewards you want. If you fake it, did you truly win? Is the question you should ask yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah. So when you speak from the heart and you're 100% authentic in yourself, whatever you win, that is more worthy of being fake. Because then at that point, it's like, who won? I wasn't 100% myself.
It was not you.
It was not you. Correct. So.
Okay, so after your second pageant, did you compete at all, or
Yes,
before?
there was another pageant. It was the Miss Vietnam Universal, I believe, and I entered that, and I won that one. And then after that, I came back and started. I think I was already at UCO, but we wanted representation on campus. So after my sophomore year at UCO, I noticed that there was a Hispanic student association, a Black student association. There was several different international student association council at the time, and there were so many other representation. There was never one for Asian American. So the year, I can't remember, was it in 97 or 98? I can't remember. I petitioned for Asian American Student Association because we didn't have one. And so my goal really is representation. And I tell everyone, students alike, anyone I run into when I get invited to speak, it's like, why do you do the things you do? It's representation. I want to make sure that young adults, children, see someone like them being able to, not only break the glass ceiling, but shatter it. When I competed in Mrs. Oklahoma, there was no one like me that looked like me that has ever competed that pageant.
And I feel like most of the things I learned in life are through different cultures.
Mm-hmm.
Because that lets me question my beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to pick good things from every culture.
100%.
So I go to church with my friends.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be like, I go to church. They go to temples with me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we are raised in India.
Yeah.
Because India is a diverse country. We have Christians, we have Muslims,
yes.
we have Hindus,
Yes.
we have, you name the caste, we have all the religions and castes. So I feel like that's what makes a human different, is when he's open to learn from different cultures, and he's willing to question his own beliefs, because at the end of the day, that's going to make you a better human.
100%. And I think it also makes you a kind human, like super kind, super empathetic when you learn about other people. And I think that's what I wanted, was representation, so that people could see us, you know, in a different light. Like, and also Asian Americans, when people assume Asians, they only assume one area of Asia.
Yeah.
And we are Asians.
We both are.
We are both Asians. And people don't see that. And so I wanted to make sure that they understood that. Yeah.
That's awesome. So how did you end up in Miss Oklahoma?
Mrs. Oklahoma, it was funny because I'm just living my best life, and someone reached out to me through Facebook Messenger and said, "Oh my gosh, you need to be in pageantry." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I love pageantry."
He was just flirting with you.
So she was like, "You need."
Oh, she.
Yes.
Okay.
She was a former Mrs. Oklahoma.
Okay.
So she reached out to me and she said, I think you would do really well, and look into it. And I said, oh my gosh, I didn't even know this existed. Like, married women get to like represent themselves on stage. And that's when I was like, why not? You know, why not? Being married isn't anything like a prison where you get married and all your dreams and goals disappear. No, ladies, no, don't do that to yourself, you know. So I competed in Mrs. Oklahoma the first time. I loved it, met so many people, which, you know, one of the contestants the first year I competed, she is funny because I was sitting in my car eating, and she came up to me and goes, "Did you know your tire is flat?" And I was like, "Ah, I did not know that." And I was like, dang it. And so Brandy, shameless plug on my friend Brandy here, she is now the current Mrs. Oklahoma 2026 and will be competing for Mrs. America in September. So,
That's
yeah,
impressive.
so she's now my sister queen. I mean, we've been friends for a while, so she's now part of the sisterhood. And you meet these wonderful women. She's an advocate for breast cancer awareness. I'm an advocate for bullying, you know, for self-respect and for, you know, for self-love. And so we all come from different backgrounds. All the women that competed that year, I remember, they all had their advocacy, their platforms per se, their purpose. When I say platform, it means their purpose. And it was just, that year I think there was like 24, 25 contestants. I got third runner up. So not the rank I was expecting, but you know, I was super proud of myself because that was the first year I ever competed in a pageant.
After
like
a
that.
long time.
That not everyone looked like me, or I was the only person that looked like me. Before I just entered cultural pageants.
Yeah,
so,
mostly the Asian,
yes,
the Vietnamese.
Yes, Vietnamese Asian community, cultural pageants. And so Mrs. Oklahoma was definitely a different category, different tier of women. And they were all can I say kick-ass? Because they were all kick-ass women. They all had a lot of business owners, a lot of advocates for underprivileged children, for adoptions, I mean, foster care, breast cancer awareness, like my friend Brandy. I mean, there were advocates for everyone. Yeah. So it was amazing to see. And I questioned myself during that pageant. I was like, I don't think I'm worthy of this. But I placed third runner up. I mean, that was my first year entering a pageant that was completely out of my comfort zone, and placing the third runner up. And then so I loved it. I continued to compete, and in 2019 I won Mrs. Oklahoma.
Nice.
Yeah.
So how many years after your first pageant? Was it like
my first pageant was in 1993. Oh gosh, I even forgot. So in 1992 I competed for Miss Asia Oklahoma. In 93 I completely forgot about this. I won Miss Vietnam, Oklahoma.
Okay.
Completely forgot about that. And then I went to California to compete. And then, yeah.
Okay. And so what was the feeling after winning Miss Oklahoma? Like, what changed in your life?
It didn't hit me until the next day. Like, I was in complete shock when I won Mrs. Oklahoma because, you know, that stigma in my head. And it doesn't matter how confident ladies you are, how, you know, you imagine things in your head and imagine things that happen. you're never truly prepared for the actual, timing of things. And so it didn't dawn on me that I won. I was still in shock. Like I was walking around and people were like, congratulations. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
People remember you.
Oh my gosh, I'm Mrs. Oklahoma. Like, what the heck? And I walked around and people were congratulating me. And they probably like, what is wrong with her? Like my face was just like, oh my gosh, I'm Mrs. Oklahoma. And so after that, it hit me like the next day because we really had to buckle down and get to work, working with photographers, with my director, trying to prepare for, because that was in May, and then our national pageant was in August. So we had, 2 months to prepare, a few months to prepare for the actual national pageant.
I remember even during our UCO pageant, after the pageant, it was almost for a month, people would like randomly meet on campus, and I am the least active person on campus. So I'm glad I did not win.
So maybe my judges picked up on that.
Maybe. And
maybe.
You know what?
First runner up though.
I am so happy as a first runner up because the person who won deserved to win. So I'm all happy with that. But they used to like, so many students would randomly come to me and like, hey, congratulations, I loved your story. Like,
And that was the purpose, was to get your father's story
to
out
talk
there.
about my dad.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, you literally spoke the truth about, Asian families, because we have so many Asian friends and they tell all the stories about their parents, and like, you have guts to say that on stage. And I'm like, and then they were like, oh, yeah, and you even said that in a funny way. Like, you never sounded like it was a torture for you or it was a trauma for you. And I was like,
no, Mom, you traumatized me. At 15, almost 16, entering me in a pageant, that I wasn't even qualified for, because I think the age was you had to be 16 or 17 to enter it. We didn't have a representative, so someone lied on the application, and it wasn't I. But when you speak the truth and you 100% authentic to yourself, winning, it's a different high. Mm-hmm. Yeah. When you win, when you're 100% authentic to yourself and you win, that's when you truly win in life, I think.
You know what made me happy and what made me never regret my win as a first runner-up, or what I would call win, even though I was a first runner-up, was after the pageant, when we were taking photos and stuff, this one kid walked to me. He was an American. And he said, Nitin, that was an amazing story, blah, blah, blah. And he told me that he hasn't been talking to his father. He hasn't spoke to his father for the last 5 years because they're having so many issues. But he said, after listening to your story, I'm going to go home and call my dad. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you should call him right now.
You should call him right now. Oh, I love that.
So that one moment made me feel like, okay, I won this.
Yes, you did. You aspired to inspire.
I changed one life, and I bet that one life came to me and told me that he's going to do that. I bet there were multiple people who came back and thought about it, and at some point they talked to their parents.
Yeah, and that's when you know you win, because you've left an impression, and you'll be remembered. So yeah.
Yeah. That was special for me.
That was beautiful. No, you did amazing that night. I remember talking about your dad and how much pride you had for him and how much you missed him. Yeah, I remember the story. I think a lot of us in the back were tearing up and emotional about it. And I'm like, okay, we weren't prepared for this, because at the international pageant, we go through all phases of competition except for talent. We don't rehearse that. I tell the contestants from day one, you need to practice your talent as soon as you figure out what you're going to do outside of this rehearsal, because what we do is we have an opening number. So there's a little dancing and performing. And then we have, traditional walk, introductions. Then we have, what else do we have? We have on-stage question, and then we have evening. And so we go through the different phases of competition. So talent was never rehearsed with me. I explicitly tell my contestants, you need to rehearse that at home, prepare yourself for whatever you need. I can assist you with background music or headphones you need, or other things that you might need to help your talent, but we're not going to be rehearsing it. So when Nitin got in front of the audience and had this slideshow of his dad, all of us, we were kind of like stopped in our tracks and we were listening to it, and a lot of us teared up, and it was emotional.
Yeah, it was, for me, it was a proud moment. I still have one of my friend took a picture of me where I'm talking about my dad,
and there is
this exact picture
is in the background. Yeah,
it's in the background, and
I'm sure he did that on purpose.
He was waiting for that moment.
He was waiting for that moment. You did good. I'm very, very proud of you.
Thank you. And so one question I have for you is, you said you were first runner-up and you were third runner-up. So do you consider that as a losing, or do you consider that as, what do you consider that as?
I consider that as growth. You lose. If you win all the time, you're not learning. When you lose, you look at what you could have done better. You look at it, you prepare more for the next time so that you can win. So if you're winning all the time, then you're not learning, is what I tell everyone. I tell my kids that too. You have to lose, you've got to fall, you've got to pick yourself up, you've got to learn those type of qualities, You're not going to be straight arrow all the time. You are going to fall. You are going to fall, you are going to fail, you are going to make mistakes. But you have to grow from it. So to me, it was never losing, it was growing.
And I think you have to lose first to understand the importance of winning.
100%. And that's why I was in complete shock when I won Mrs. Oklahoma, because losing, you're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, So the feeling of winning is so much better, 1,000 times more satisfying.
Yeah. So what do you think, what you changed that took you from third runner-up to the winner? What did you do in that time frame that made you a winner?
Hair and makeup was different. Prepping for interviews, working on really, really implementing my platform and how I lived my platform was another. But yeah, preparation. It's not just the day of the pageant. It's preparation that you don't see beforehand. So like meeting with, leaders, city leaders, talking about your platform, advocating it. It's like, what can we do in schools to help, instill rules or just safety mechanisms for students who get bullied all the time. So that was the thing. And how do we encourage more confidence in school to students? And so that was my platform. So a lot of preparation beforehand, before you get on that stage. There's a lot of work and a lot of grit behind preparing for Mrs. Oklahoma.
And so what's something that nobody talks about, but that's super important in order to compete in the pageants?
Knowing how to advertise yourself. I guess advertise is the word I'm going to use.
Self-branding.
Self-branding, 100%, yes. How are you going to represent yourself? Are you going to be all about just, your platform? Or are you going to be a mom trying her best to raise children and the platform that you're advocating for, and be, 100% in the community and, culturally, being aware? I mean, what is it that you want to do? So that was me, 100%. I was authentic to, I am very involved in my culture. I am not ashamed of it anymore. So I dive deep. We did the Asian Night Market Festival that same year I won. And I remember it was, there was so many people there. My children were, my oldest was going through puberty. I had two younger ones at home. How can I be there for them? How can I represent myself and show them that mommy is a mom, but also this person that they can look up to? And so that was me trying to find a space, to make everything work.
Was there any story about the student that stuck with you and you felt like, okay, this story was something that makes me feel like I am doing something good for these students at USU?
Oh gosh. It's the other way around. When I was asked to be director, Jared approached me and he was like, we would really love you to be our pageant director. And I was like, oh, great, sure. It's the other way around. Those students that I helped that year impacted my life, not me teaching them anything. I don't know if I taught them anything, but I know that getting to know these international students, getting to know their struggles, getting to know their background, they taught me compassion, more empathy, and hard work. Like, you would not imagine how hardworking you guys are. Like, when I look at your bios, because I put all that together for the judges. I'm looking at your bios, I'm looking at your classes, your studies, how you got here. And not only that, it's like pageantry, when I compete in pageants, I had family with me. Most of the students that compete in the international pageants do not have family with them. And for them to find that motivation and to find help within the group, that bond y'all had, that is a teaching lesson for me. Like, I'm learning from them how to be this hardworking, compassionate, more empathetic person. And so really, I don't know if you guys even learned anything from me, but I did learn a whole lot from my contestants.
I learned a lot from you. I think I never saw myself doing pageant, and I never even thought of doing pageant when I was here, because my goal was strictly
Finish school, get
find a job, because that's what I'm here for. And
but you need to have fun along the way too.
Yes, and I remember Shivani was the one who told me that there's going to be an UCO international pageant, and you should so she was going to enroll for it, and she was like, you should do it too, and so I did, and sadly I got picked up to represent India, and she did not. So, but that's how I was introduced, and the biggest thing that was for me was getting a scholarship.
Yes, motivator, money. When I won that first pageant and they handed me my winnings, I was like, oh yeah, cha-ching. And that is a motivator. And that's not anything to look down on, because a lot of girls do compete in pageants to win scholarship money. I mean, you're helping yourself, further yourself, and become a better self. So yeah.
And so what do you think, other than winning scholarship, what skills have you observed people developing during the pageants, and what are the other factors that people or students should consider while enrolling into these pageants? Like, how, if you have to talk about what are the intrapersonal skills that are going to develop, and that's going to help them into their professional journey, what would you say?
So the one thing we do work on during rehearsals is interview. I do believe that when students enter pageants, they build this confidence, self-belief, self-motivating, and how you represent yourself when you go into job interviews. And I think being in a pageant, the rigor of the interview portion of competition, a lot of these students have never, had to deal with that. And I think the questions that the judges bring to the table are hard, are difficult. And job interviews, when you go on a job interview, you're interviewing for a job that you're going in it with the mindset of, okay, this is my degree, this is what I want to do, this is how I'm going to answer the questions. When you go into a pageant, you get 5 different people judging you and not really attacking, but they really want to get to know you. They ask an array of questions and you don't know how to answer it. So I think the important part of pageants that I emphasize on is interview. We work on interview skills, what you say, what you do, how you make the eye contact, how you stand up, how your body talks to the judges too. So I think interview is the mechanism. I mean, I think it's like 25% or even 30% of your scoring. So yeah.
One thing that was super important for me and that I learned through the pageant.
But let me say, interview is nothing though without confidence. So that's one thing that pageant will teach you. Pageants will teach you, and well, not really teach you, but will bring out of you is the confidence. So,
Yeah. One thing I learned about from the pageant was my main goal was to understand the different perspectives about the people. So when I work with different people, this was the perfect opportunity because I was basically working with students from different countries.
right.
So I get to learn from how they think. And that was one observation that I was constantly doing, like, hey, who is doing what and how are they reacting to the certain situations? Because I don't know when I go to the professional world, into my corporate world, who is going to interview me. Is
Right.
it going to be somebody from America or from some other
Right.
country? So,
And usually it's a panel. It's a panel. Like when I interviewed to be a scientist at the state health department, to work there, it was a panel of people, and like 2 of them had PhDs, others didn't, others worked in the field. We had nurses, So you deal with a lot of people, and you need to know how to work the room, is what we call it, work the room. Yeah.
and one thing I learned during the pageant was how to drive the conversation, because I don't know if so do you remember we had that interview round in the beginning? So throughout my process, throughout these 2 years of my student journey, I was trying to learn one thing, and that was how to drive interviews in my own way.
Right. How to control the conversation.
Yes.
Yes.
So
yes.
how to
We do practice that.
how to answer a question in such a way that I know what's the next question coming from me.
Yeah.
And I learned that through, various things I did for those 2 years, and pageant was one of them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it tremendously helped me with my confidence, my communication, because I think that was my first ever show where I felt confident in my accent, and I felt confident about like doing things that I've never done before.
Right.
So it
Yeah.
was a win-win for me. Okay, so you won pageant as a teenager, you won pageant as a wife, you won pageant as a mother. What was different throughout your journey? Like,
Organization, because I remember preparing for Mrs. America. It was the day that I had rehearsals. Well, we rehearsed all week, but I can't remember if it was preliminaries or the day of the pageant. My kids started school that same week.
okay.
It was their first day of school, and it was the same week as Mrs. America, and I was going to miss that. And that was really tough for me. And I knew it was tough for a couple of moms, too, who had kids starting that same week. And I had to make sure the fridge was stocked, lunches were packed, and then I think my daughter had picture day, too, so I had to have someone, like my sister, thanks, Lynn, she came and she curled my daughter's hair for her because I wasn't there to curl it. And so preparation, organization, from going from a teenager competing a young adult who didn't really have to worry about anything but herself, to worrying about 3 other people, and not just myself.
Adds more responsibilities.
Yes. So organization was the main key to keeping everything straight, making sure there were no tears, I mean, there were tears. Bella did cry a little bit when I FaceTimed her, and she was really nervous about first day of school. So that was really tough. I knew I was going to miss those first moments, but I knew that was just that 1 year, that I would be able to see many other moments after that. So, yeah.
And what are the learnings that you were able to apply as a mother that you learned during your pageant or
When you're
in your
younger,
professional career?
It's the walking, the confidence, how to turn on stage, interview skills that I learned during my young adult phase. Not when I first competed, but like when I actually got into it. Those interview skills stayed with me, and I continue to apply that to, conversations. I apply it to when I interviewed in a job, and then I apply it now when I'm, helping direct the pageant. So, yeah, so those interview skills did stay with me.
And
And then you add a little bit to it. So, yeah, to make it better.
Yeah. And how do you mentally prepare yourself? Because physical preparations, you can see it. But the
Yeah.
mental preparations, I
Mental-
feel like that's the most important part.
And that's the hardest part too, because we are human and we do that comparison game so well. We compare, oh my gosh, her dress is amazing. I should have gone with something more sparkly, or okay, maybe I should have gone with someone else to do my hair and makeup. It's that mental preparation's like, okay, if they ask me this, how am I going to answer it? And then you do that comparison game to like, gosh, she did this for her platform. Maybe I should have done more. So that can eat away at you. That can completely eat away at you. But I will tell you this, you can wear a $100 gown versus a $1,000 gown. But if you are not mentally prepared and that confidence isn't there, that $100 gown girl who has the confidence of the world on her shoulders is going to win. It's not about the dress, ladies. Yeah.
Yes, I totally agree.
Yeah.
It's the personality, the charisma, the confidence.
100%. But I will tell you, if you pick a bad dress, or if you don't allow yourself to have the dress you want, and then you wear something that doesn't make you feel confident, that will also play, that plays a part too. Yeah. So pick the dress that you want, stick with it, and don't change your mind. Have convictions. Have convictions about your platform. When you work, behind the scenes, those things play a part in your confidence, but you have to be sure of yourself.
Okay, and if you would go back to your 15-year-old self back again now, and if you could tell her one thing, what would you tell her?
Because that was my thing. Competing at 15, I was just so scared I was going to fall on stage. I was so scared I was going to say something dumb, because there wasn't any preparation. Just a bunch of my mom's friends, just pulling me this way and that way, fixing my hair and makeup. So to me, as a veteran in pageants now, a veteran, I have officially retired. As a veteran in pageantry, I do believe that you should have fun. And I did have a lot of fun at Mrs. America. I did not walk away with a placement or a title, but I made some incredible friends. I've made some incredible memories that I take with me all the time. So if you want to compete in pageants, yes, have a goal, a motivator. Yeah, I'm going to win scholarship money. That is a good motivator. But also know you need to go into a pageant with an open mind. You are going to meet lots of different personalities, like you said. You have to be open-minded about that. You need to understand different backgrounds. You have to have fun with it, just be open-minded about it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so did you ever feel like giving up? Because you know that every time you're not going to win, you invest the same amount of energy, same amount of money and all of that. But sometimes life takes you down, and it's very easy to give up in life and just be like, okay, I'm not going to do this anymore. So that way I don't have to worry about winning or losing. And so how do you get past that feeling?
That's a good question, because I feel like that applies not just to pageantry, but in life in general. When you get down, there's a bracelet I wear, my sister gave me. It says, don't let the hard days win. I'm 50 this year, and hard days come and go. They do. But your mental health and your mental capacity to absorb, the negativity is something you can't control. So yeah, give yourself time to heal from even pageants. We call it a, what is that, hangover? Pageant hangover. Mm-hmm. You put so much energy and you put so much energy, time, money into this process, and then when it's over, you are completely worn out. So give yourself time to heal. Because when you start thinking of, gosh, I should have done this, I should have done that, mm-hmm. During the time you're not letting yourself heal from this hangover, that's when your mental capacity kind of shuts down on you. And I feel like you compete in a pageant, you take that time, all your energy is spent, give yourself time to heal. Do something for yourself, whether it's to go on vacation, send your kids away, sleep. A lot of people sleep. Go out, enjoy time with friends. Whatever it is that you need to do to heal, do that. But
How do you heal yourself?
Me? Shopping. Which is really bad because I just spent a buttload of money on this pageant and then I'm here shopping again. No, but shopping and eating, that's really bad. I do love food and I love enjoying food with other people. Yeah.
I think we're similar there.
Yeah, and so, and I do take quiet time for myself, even with, things that I face on a daily basis, that kind of obstacles that I face daily. I drown myself. I kind of shut everything down, quiet time, watch a favorite movie, watch a Chinese or Korean drama, whatever drama's on. I've watched Turkish dramas, I've watched Chinese, I've watched Italian dramas, I've watched them all, Spanish dramas too. Give your time, that's your part of like, okay, I'm just gonna walk away from it. I'm not gonna focus any more energy on what is going on, that negativity that's going on. Let myself heal and then prepare myself to come back. So, bad things happen and you just have to let that person process it.
Yeah. And how do you find purpose in life? What is purpose for you?
Purpose for me is being involved, like doing this podcast with you, helping the community, which, Lunar New Year, or not Lunar New Year, the Children's Moon Festival is coming up in September, and I'm helping coordinate a pageant for that. So anybody with children between the age of 5 and I think 15, come to me, reach out to me. We are doing a pageant for them. Get involved in the community. I just won an award I was honored as a United Nations Woman of Impact.
Oh, that's nice. Congratulations.
Thank you for being involved in the community. I'm also, this is the plug, the shameless plug that I mentioned earlier, the Vietnamese Boat People organization based out in New York, Tracy Mung, she is bringing an exhibit to Oklahoma City, and we're working with the Oklahoma History Center to showcase the journey that my family made. So many Vietnamese families made. That's awesome. I mean, you guys heard my story and how traumatizing it was. I'm married to a Vietnamese man, and his family also came that way, and I feel like his story is even more traumatizing. So my story is just one of many that are very similar. So just keep that in mind. But there is an exhibit coming September 12th to the Oklahoma History Museum, the Oklahoma History Center downtown. And it's going to be it's an exhibit showcasing the Vietnamese boat people. So the way I jump back is to literally jump back into the community, helping, doing things. That's how I find my purpose. It doesn't necessarily define me, but it gives me purpose and it makes me feel good when I'm, making a difference. So yeah.
So like, what is the purpose for you? Like, would you call it something that keeps you busy, or would you call it something that makes you happy?
It makes me happy. It does. I think building the community and sharing my culture makes me very, very happy.
Because I don't know if you remember this, but I messaged you a few months ago and I asked you, like, I'm struggling to find my purpose because for the last few years, my purpose was to
finish school,
get a job.
Yeah.
Which I did. And then after that, I was like, okay, I have a job, I have everything, but I don't have a purpose. And I was struggling with it so bad, like, and I kind of started feeling like I'm getting depressed because as a human, I still have energy to do things. I still have time to try things out, and I'm not giving a best of myself.
Yeah.
So that was one thing, and which is why I came up with this idea, because I like talking to people, and I was like, heck yeah, why not?
This is perfect.
Yeah, this is so perfect. So that's one of the reasons. So thank you so much for helping me find the direction during that phase. And when I say I have good people around me, she's one of them.
He's lying. I yelled at him all the time during rehearsal.
She never did. She never did. I don't remember you yelling at me.
No, I probably didn't yell at you, but I probably made fun of you.
Oh, a lot. Yeah, a lot.
Bring
I
that
think-
chin down.
Yeah, I was making fun of myself, honestly.
Bring that chin down. You don't want to come off as arrogant. Bring that chin down. Yeah, I do remember saying things like that. But it is fun. You have to poke fun at yourself. I feel like you do. You have to make fun of yourself. And I make fun of myself all the time. I mean, yeah, all the time.
That's the best way to make somebody laugh, is to make fun of yourself.
Right.
So that they laugh.
And, and I find that people who are very confident in who they are can do that. Like you poke fun of yourself, who are not confident, but comfortable in their own skin to be able to do that. Yeah. So it's a conversation starter. It really is.
Yeah. And if you have to talk about your family, I know you have 3 kids, and I feel like I do see a lot of her Instagram posts. She's super active on Instagram. And I feel like every kid of yours has a different personality of you.
Oh my gosh. Came from the same parents, but they are completely different. Isaac, he is a go-getter. He loves to talk. He loves to read. He loves music. He loves to be out and about. He's a go-getter. He is trying to get into medical school, so all your viewers, please pray for him.
He got this.
Yeah,
he got this.
Yeah, he's trying to get into medical school. He is dating an amazing young lady. Super proud. I think I'm more proud of that. I'm kidding, Isaac. I am kidding. I am super proud of you. And then my middle child, he is my gentle giant. He
seems super studious to me. I don't know, for some reason.
No, the oldest one is super studious, but
I mean, yeah, he too.
Yeah, but yes, Jacob he has this quiet confidence about that I'm super proud of. He doesn't need anybody. He is comfortable, literally comfortable in his own skin. He is actually going to UCO right now. He's going in 2nd year, computer engineer.
That's awesome.
So he's at UCO right now, and he's got this quiet confidence. He doesn't need to talk to a lot of people, but he will talk to you if you want a conversation. He's very empathetic. So he tries to help even when, people probably don't want him to. So he's my gentle giant. And then Bella, I had to say extra prayers for her.
The pro volleyball player.
I've had to say extra prayers for her because she's a wild one for sure.
Is that because she's the youngest one?
Maybe, but I mean, I feel like she's definitely the wild one. Very sassy, very high maintenance, and maybe she gets that from me. I don't know,
yeah. But she's seen you shopping.
Yes. Okay. Then yes. Yeah. But she's a mess, but I love her. She's very ambitious. She took AP World History. Her brother took AP World History.
What is that?
It's a class in high school. It's kind of like a college prep class prerequisite. So if you take AP World History, you take the test at the end of the year, and you make a certain grade, you don't have to take it in college.
Oh.
You're exempt from it.
Okay.
So my middle son, my gentle giant, took AP World History. The highest you can get is a 5. He made a 5. She takes AP World History, and she just got her grade. July 10th is when they released the grade. She goes, just as long as I don't make lower than a 5, because she doesn't want to hear it from her brother. Well, she makes a 5. So yeah.
So she's talented, and
she's very smart.
Clever.
I have to watch her. You tell her to be home by 11:30. Literally, she'll get home at 11:25, sit in her car, and walk through the door at 11:29. Because I know when I have Life 360 on one of my kids, even the oldest one, and she'll drive up 11:25 and sit in her car, and she'll just sit in the car and 11:29 walk through the door because I'm supposed to be home at 11:30 because my mom made a curfew for that time, so I have to be home at that time. Yeah,
I
she
feel
works
like
me.
all 3 of them are going to be like, I do see a lot of posts that you do on Instagrams, and I feel like all of them are gonna turn into a better humans.
Oh, I hope
And
so.
Your oldest one resonates a lot with his dad,
Mm-hmm.
I feel. And
Actually, the middle one resonates with his dad. His
Really?
dad's very quiet. I think the oldest one, the go-getter, is more like me. And I think Bella is a combination of both of us.
oh yeah, she has
Both
energy.
of our bad attributes. So, no, I love her. She's great. She is a handful, though. And, yeah, sometimes... I don't know. You know, they come from the same parents. You teach them the same things, but they interpret it all differently. So that's probably what happened.
But you know what? As a kid, you won't believe this, but I was super mischievous. Like my brother, he was pretty quiet, super, like he would barely talk to anybody, super introvert.
See, so that's like my middle son. Yeah.
And I was super extrovert. Like I would literally go to my neighbor's house and just chill with them for like, I'm that kind of person. Like, I was like super talkative.
And that's how Bella is. She'll just go wherever and be wherever and do whatever. She's very open to be just actively involved in whatever is going on. I'm pretty sure she convinced her AP World History teacher to throw a party for them because they're going to, a pool party with, their school because they did well on the test. So I'm pretty sure she convinced the teacher to do something like that.
And you know what? Especially like Bella is gonna do amazing things. I'm sure all three of them is gonna do, but I'll talk especially about her because I resonate with her personality. Is because, like, the reason I say she's gonna do amazing things is because as a kid, like even me, we're so extrovert and we do so many things that we learn that what not to do in life.
And
So we do a lot of mistakes.
Yep.
And that I feel like as a kid, you have a time to make mistakes and you learn from them.
Yeah.
And so when you grow up, you become a better human.
Yes. So that's a funny thing because I feel like we always have this conversation with Bella. It's like the reason why we're hard on you is because we don't want you to make the mistakes that we did. And you continue to make these mistakes. And so
She should make mistakes because that's how she's going to learn. And this is the time.
and it's funny because that's what I mentioned earlier too. It's like you have to fail to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's as a parent though, yeah, I want her to fail in other things, but in her safety, like being home a certain time, not hanging out with certain people, I feel like as a mom, you have that sixth sense to, to catch on those things. And so that's where I don't want her to fail is I don't want her to have that heartbreak. And so, but then again, having that heartbreak can also teach you not to be at that point again. So, but
yeah, because as a parent, you're gonna tell her what not to do.
To protect her. Yeah.
And you're gonna try to protect her.
Yeah.
But when she gets into that situation, when she experiences it, she's gonna learn better.
Yeah, she will. 100%. She's going to learn better or not. But we'll see. Yeah. No, I love my kids. They make me proud. Truly, 100%. They do make me proud, and I love sharing their activities and things that they do that make me proud on Instagram. So most of my Instagram, if you guys follow me, then yeah, it's usually about my kids or food.
Mm-hmm. Food, shopping,
and drinks,
friends.
all the good things, all the positive things that keep me moving. So.
Okay. Last question. If you want to give a message to the world to make this world better, what would you say?
Yeah. Love thy neighbor. I know that's one of the commandments, but yes, love thy neighbor. I think because we all come, and I come from different parts of the world. We come from different parts of the backgrounds. We were taught differently. Each of us were. Be more empathetic and love each other. I think that's why we are so divided. I mean, I know I have my views and I can be stubborn about it too, but I learned that the reason why this person doesn't believe the same thing I do is because they were raised a certain way. Have compassion for that, be empathetic. Like, you really don't know what a person is going through until you walk through their shoes, until you hear it. But love thy neighbor. That would be my message, especially right now, I feel like. The world is kind of falling apart, and it makes me really sad. And that's one of the things too, when I, accepted my story and my journey. When I finally accepted it and finally was not ashamed of it anymore, that prompted me to go out and be like, well, maybe there's more people like me than I think. And so hearing everybody's stories, and then, you learn to love your neighbor a little more because you understand their story. So, that's my message. I know it's very cheesy. It's very Catholic.
No, it's perfect.
But yeah, and I do tell, usually it's like, go out and make a difference in the world. But you can't do that until you love. When you have love in your heart, then you can go out and make a difference. So.
And do you have any message for me? Like, how can I make this better? Or how can I be a better human?
Oh gosh, no, you are a great human. You don't need to change. Don't change. Your father would be so proud of you right now. I mean, he was proud of you when I first, I'm like, why wouldn't he not be? And when when he first showed up to practice, I was like, oh, he's going to win it. He's going to win it all. I saw his traditional wear and everything. And then I was like, oh, he did amazing. And then the love that you have for your father, that's what, put it over for me. And I think you're an amazing human being. Don't change that. Don't change that. Grow from that. Take
Yes.
what your dad taught you and grow from that, and be accepting of, everybody else around you too. Be open to communicate and interview more people that don't align with your beliefs, and see how you can grow from that. So yeah, nothing you need to change. Have more conversations is all I'm going to ask you to do. Is have more conversations.
That's my goal, is to, I feel like as a human, I learn more things when I talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
And I do want to keep doing that in life, so that I learn from everybody's experiences. And there's only reason why I am filming this is because along with me, I want whoever watches this video, get that value and learn from your experiences.
And not only that, but like I said, aspire to inspire. I'm sure you starting this podcast has you being aspired to do something with the time that you have will inspire someone else. I promise
Hopefully.
you. It's a domino effect. All those positive things are always a domino effect. So
Hopefully.
yeah, I'm sure you're inspiring everyone out there right now. So
Thank you so much. And if you guys find a value in this conversation, please don't forget to hit like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to follow Samantha. I'm gonna add her profile, her handle in the description, and see you in the next one. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.